Okay, thank you very much, Kara, for this opportunity, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming and to gather on the last day of the SADC Youth Forum, which was the forum that was running for the past 2 days, and today it is the last day of the forum, and various activities, various discussions were taking place, and there was active from the youth parliament coming to the sessions, different sessions that young people were discussing, which shows that we are in good hands with regard to issues that are happening in the region from different countries. And what was unique about this forum is the participation of all 16 SADC countries and young people coming together, starting from the parliament until where we are right now. So as we waiting for this facilitator of this session, Mr. Ronald, allow me to check if our first presenters are ready. That is Ms. Amel Silva from Comoros, who is going to present about Africa Youth Front on coronavirus. SAYOF has been selected, SAYOF SADC, Southern Africa Youth Forum is the representative of young people in SADC in the Africa Union, Africa Youth Front on coronavirus. And the representatives of SAYOF there is Ms. Amel Silva and Ronald in this committee, and there are different processes that are happening. Can I confirm that Ms. Silva is there? Can I also confirm that Ms. Bosa Sebele from Botswana, who is going to give on UN major groups on migration, which is SAYOF representative in the UN major group on migration, she's also available. Then the last session will be also taken by Ronald. Kera, can I confirm Ronald is now in the room?
Yes, thank you very much for that.
Can I hand over now the sessions is to follow to Mr. Ronald? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for assisting us in terms of facilitating this far. So what I also maybe want to do is to hand over to Ms. Amel Silva, who is also one of the 2 representatives of the Southern Africa Youth Forum within the Africa Youth Front on COVID-19, which is a high-level policy framework that has been put in place by the African Union to allow young people's efforts to be coordinated in the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. So at this moment, I'll hand over to Ms. Amel Silva. Thank you.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm Armel from Comoros and also member of the African Youth Front on Coronavirus, representing the SAYOF. And the African Youth Front on Coronavirus was it's a supporter from the African Union and also the African SADC and the Department of Social Affairs. SAYOF SADC was selected to present the SADC Youth Front on Coronavirus, which is represented by me and Ronald. The Youth Front on Coronavirus is a high-level policy and advocacy framework put in place to the African Union to coordinate the African response to the COVID pandemic. The work that we are doing, we as SAYOF and the other network members, there is 10 network members from the whole Africa at the IYFC, is to contribute and sharing our information on what youth is doing across the continent. In the SADC region, and in the SADC region, sorry, with regard of the COVID-19. Part of this work being done is contribute to the policy brief to the African Centers for Diseases and the African Union. SAYOF is remain ready to continue representing the SADC youth at the continental level. In brief, this is how we are presenting you that we as SAYOF, we are doing our best to present the youth from the SADC region at the African Youth Front on coronavirus. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much for those contributions, Ms. Amel Silva, and we appreciate the work that you are also doing in representing the youth within the SADC region at the African Youth Front on COVID-19. So at this moment, we have also received a notification from one of our representatives, Ms. Bosa Sebele, who is from Botswana, that she's facing technical challenges and she's not able to log in and to make this particular brief presentation. So on her behalf, I'm just going to share with the participants the work that SAYOF SADC is also doing within the United Nations Major Group on Children and Youth Migration Working Group, where SAYOF SADC is also representing the youth from the SADC region within this particular platform at the United Nations level, where issues around migration and development are also being tackled. And to this day, SAYOF SADC has represented the African youth because it is one of the regional focal points representing Africa within the United Nations Major Group. So at this particular moment, a number of initiatives have already been done as a build-up to the Global Forum for Migration and Development that shall be taking place in Dubai in 2021. So at this current juncture, SAYOF SADC has represented African youth during the AU and GFMD participatory processes that have also taken place in April. And as we head towards the GFMD process in 2021, SAYOF SADC will also be leading work around the Global Compact for Migration. And our representative and country director for Botswana, Ms. Bosa Sebele, will also be leading this particular work. So Ms. Bosa Sebele had also noted that I must conclude this particular brief remarks by saying that, by quoting what she has also sent here to say that she believes the future of Africa is in good hands with young people at the forefront. So those were also the remarks by Ms. Bosa Sebele there. So without wasting much time, I'll also then proceed to share briefly about what SAYOF SADC is also doing within the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance platform, where we are also representing the youth, in the SADC region within a task force that has also been set up by the SADC CNGO, to coordinate, strategies around the national, regional, and continental advocacy around the issues of the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance. So this work is also seeking to engage on strategies for member states to sign and to ratify the ASDEC as a charter. So as young people, we are also standing together with the SADC CNGO, and we continue to participate and to represent the youth from within the SADC region at this particular space. So apart from these presentations that we have made to the participants and everyone who is joining the call, beginning shortly, we shall also be allowing for very brief solidarity statements from other youth networks that we also work with, because we believe solidarity is key in the work that young people are also doing. So just to confirm, if we have the representative of the East Africa Youth Network, Ian, to give their solidarity statement just in brief. So we will go by the order of East Africa Youth Network, then Malawi Youth Council, then EAC Youth Ambassadors Dialogue, then the NESA Youth Movement. So in brief, if we have the East Africa Youth Network representative. Okay, it seems as if the representative is not yet within the room. The Malawi Youth Council representative?
No, he's here. He's here.
Okay, so we may just proceed to give him a moment to share a solidarity statement with us. Thank you.
Ronald?
Yes, I can hear you. You may proceed.
Oh, you can hear me, comrades?
Yes, we can definitely hear you. You may proceed.
Thank you so much, comrades, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you so much for the South African Youth Forum for this great work you're doing. My name is Jack Tusime. I'm the coordinator of the East African Youth Network. I come from a village called Uganda. That is an African village. I'm very glad to join you guys in solidarity for this great work. The East African Youth Network, briefly, is a youth body that brings together all the youth in the ESC, that is the 6 member states. Those who don't know, maybe I can briefly tell you that the East African community is made up of the 6 member states, that is Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and the Republic of South Sudan. The platform, the network gives a platform for the youth to actively participate in the implementation of the treaty of the establishment of the East African community and its related protocols, programs, and policies. For us here, joining you at this time, we are very glad and want to continue with this conversation of integration and the African solidarity. We believe that to achieve a prosperous, economically liberated Africa, we will need to work together as young people. And we believe that we have to focus on the economic growth. We do our with the borders to ensure that we achieve our objective. Our whole idea as the ESC, as a network, our focus at the moment is to ensure that we achieve an economic liberated Africa, where the Africa we want, we can see the income in the pockets of our people, not the economic growth on the websites of IMF or World Bank. We believe that if we are together, we can improve and actively engage in areas that we have a comparative advantage in the whole of Africa. If we are to achieve the real integration, we have to make sure that our people are economically liberated. We engage in the areas like farming. We engage in the areas like Ronald, are you saying something?
Yes. Yes, thank you very much, comrade. Maybe just in the shortest possible time for you to conclude, so that we may not be able to, we may not lose time from our side.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. Maybe my concluding remarks is that I want to encourage young people to fight for political power, engage in leadership, so that we can have a chance to set our own agenda and prepare our own policies. I thank you so much, and long live Africa.
Thank you very much, and long live Africa. So at this moment, allow me to also give this particular brief moment to our representative from the Malawi Youth Council to share their solidarity statement with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, the convener. Greetings to everyone who is participating in this. This really shows power to the youth. I would just like, on behalf of the National Youth Council of Malawi, just to applaud the organizers of this second SADC Youth Forum. It is something that we have really been waiting for and longing for as young people in this part of Africa. On all the discussions that have been discussed this time around, we are really saying the youth are on the move, and Malawi, we support all what has been discussed. And in terms of youth leadership participation and engagement, taking up the positions, this is the time that we need to do that. Otherwise, we cannot just be talking of youth participation if the youth themselves are not leading in all these initiatives. And throughout this forum, all these discussions, it has really shown that the youth are ready to take up the leadership positions. And Malawi, we have been in the forefront in supporting youth leadership and youth engagement in the political space, civic space. And that has just been demonstrated even during this very forum, where we have contributed almost 5 young parliamentarians and 20 participants. That shows that we indeed want to be part and parcel of the youth movement in this part of the region. That said, we are in support in all the discussions and the recommendations and resolutions that are going to come out of this. Let's join hands and let's show that the youth we have a voice that should really be taken care of by all those that are in the leadership positions. If we can't create and find way in our space, nobody's going to give us that space. Now it's time that space has been created. As young people, let us utilize the space that has been created by demonstrating that we're able to do it. Nobody is going to come to hold our hand, but now is the time. The legal framework is there to take us into the level where we can lead. Thank you so much. God bless Africa.
Thank you very much, and indeed, God bless Africa. Thank you very much, Malawi National Youth Council, for those remarks. At this moment, allow me to also proceed to invite the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Dialogue representative to share with us their solidarity statement in brief. Then after that, we shall be having the NESA Youth Movement from Egypt. So if you are having the NESA Youth Movement from Egypt representative, maybe you may proceed. Okay. So without wasting much time, since we seem not to be having the 2 representatives, one from the EAC Youth Ambassadors Dialogue, as well as from the NESA Youth Movement representative from Egypt, the next session that we want to be engaging on are brief remarks from our partners as well, because we all understand that we did not do this alone. We also have a number of partners that we are definitely working with, who we started working with from the day 1 of this second SADC Youth Forum, and now we are at day 3. So to begin the partners' remarks, I would also want to invite the Wits Business School representative, who is none other than Professor Becky Nkosi Moyo, to share the partners' remarks with us. So over to you, Prof. Becky.
Okay, thank you very much, comrades. And thank you for the collaboration with the center through my colleagues, Kira, who has been facilitating and presented during this meeting, Letu, Shosho, and Tandi that you have been dealing with. I also want to thank my colleague, Professor Murimpika from the Wits Business School, for sharing his work with young people on entrepreneurship, venture creation, and innovations. CAPSI, as you know, is a Pan-African think tank based at the Wits Business School that is focusing on African narratives, projects, and trends on African philanthropy and social investment. We do set the agenda, but we also respond to developments in the continent and in the region. For example, disasters such as the cyclones that hit the 3 countries in our region, as well as the COVID-19 that is currently wreaking havoc across the continent. The topics that you have covered over the last 3 days resonate very well with the programs that are offered by the center and the Wits Business School overall. For example, we offer short courses and master classes and degree programs in areas that might be of interest to a lot of young people. And I want to mention here courses like venture philanthropy, impact investing, liquid leadership, and social entrepreneurship initiatives. These are some of the courses that we offer, but there are several others that I think would be very happy to collaborate with the movement and the forum as we go forward. We'll be happy, like I said, to work with you on delivering a united and prosperous Africa. And I want to give you the assurance that we are available at all times to work with young people, to provide leadership, to provide technical assistance, but where necessary to also work jointly on certain initiatives that might be of interest to the region. Our work with SADC regional institutions is of importance, and we want to emphasize the role that regional integration plays in building strong and resilient economies. And I think we are beginning to see the dangers of not working unitedly during this COVID-19. And so for the leaders of our regions, I think one of the most important considerations going forward is not to think just nationally, but to think about the impacts that our decisions at national level have on our neighbors, on the region and the continent at large. And so I really want to thank everyone for having taken time to work with us and every other partner on this and delivering a successful conference. Thank you so much, comrade, and wish everyone a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Prof. Becky, for those remarks. And we also appreciate, the work that we have been doing collaboratively towards this second SADC Youth Forum. So without wasting much time, allow me to also invite a representative from the GIZ, who is also one of the partners, Mrs. Dambisa Dube, to share the partners' remarks with us. Over to you, Ms. Dube.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ronald, for the floor. I won't be long. We have really enjoyed being part of the process so far, and it's really just been an honor. And the past couple of days, I've managed to join some of the discussions and have really just been motivated by other young people who have really been centered and have taken such a lead in these dialogues. I just want to thank SAYOF for that. For those who are not familiar with our work, I'm speaking here today as a representative or an advisor of the African German Youth Initiative, which is a GIZ program. Those who are not familiar with GIZ, we are a German development corporation. And the specific program works very closely with our continental structure, which would be the AU in this case, specifically the AU Youth Division. And our work has really been focused over the past 4 years in trying to strengthen the African partners' capacities in being able to host and participate in exchange programs. So we really use mobility as a tool to develop young people. And over the years, we've really had a lot of dialogues around how do we strengthen young people's position. So we really put them in the lead in them shaping what they'd like out of exchange programs, but not only that, how they'd like to participate, how they'd like to be included in decision-making processes, how they'd like certain things to change. And so our program has really been flexible from the beginning. And I think initially what we aim to do in the beginning has changed a lot because of youth participation and engagement. So being part of this process and being an advisor to this process has been really interesting and aligned with our work very, very strongly. And I can confidently say that on behalf of my colleagues as well. So I'd like to thank the organizers and everybody who's made this possible despite the virtual platform. I think we've done fantastically, and I think what you aim to do has been done so well, and I'm really interested to see the follow-up process. And I know that we as a program are also interested to support and see what we can do beyond the past couple of days. So that would be it from my side, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much for those remarks, Ms. Dambisa Dube, and we also appreciate the collaborations that we continue to do that seek to put young people at the center of the development trajectory within the SADC region. So without wasting much time, I would also want to move over to the representative from Action 8, Ms. Catherine Robinson. Ms. Robinson, if you are within the meeting room, you may proceed to share your remarks. I can see we have, okay, Madam Julie, you may proceed.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Sorry, I'm going to speak on behalf of Catherine because she's had connectivity problems, no power today in South Africa, load shedding. Yeah. So I was having problems in connecting, I've just been able to connect now. So, yeah. So on behalf of ActionAid, I would also like to say that we've been very happy to be part of this process. The SADC Youth Forum has been very well organized, and I think the sessions were very enriching. very informative, and the Youth Parliament was excellent. I would like to applaud all those who participated in the Youth Parliament for doing such a great job, and the preparation was also very good. We are really happy to be part of this process. As ActionAid, we have a youth network that we work with called Activista, and most of them have participated in this forum as well. And we really appreciate this collaboration, as well as the collaboration with all the partners who have also worked with SIOF in organizing this youth forum. For us, youth play an important role in the development agenda. So in our strategy, we engage youth in our programs. So it's not only tokenistic engagement, but they are engaged right from planning, implementation, as well as evaluating what we have done, monitoring and evaluating what we have done. So for us, the youth are very key in whatever we do. And I would like to urge that SADC needs to take this seriously and ensure that the youth are put at the center of the agenda of SADC if SADC is to develop. So thank you all very much for inviting us to partner with you in this forum, and we look forward to the next steps. What we would like to see is some action taken after this youth forum. It should not be just a forum and then we end there, but I think there were quite a number of good recommendations that have come out of this forum. So let's take that forward, and we would like to see meaningful youth participation and that no youth is being left behind, including those youth in the very rural and remote areas. Thank you all, and well done everybody for such a successful forum. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Julie Juma from ActionAid, and ending on a high note that we need to make sure that in everything that we are doing, we are not leaving any young person behind. So last to give their partners remarks, we welcome from SAACON, Ms. Pusetso. If you are within the meeting, may you share your remarks? All right. It also seems as if Ms. Pusetso is not within the, the meeting room. So at this moment, I would also want to acknowledge the presence of our African Union Youth Envoy, Ms. Ayachebi, who has also joined. She will be going live to share her guest presentation, I think, in the moments that shall be, coming up as well. So just to check, Ms. Pusetso, if you're now within the meeting room. All right, so maybe before we proceed to Her Excellency Aya to share her remarks, at this moment, I'll give the moment for Dr. Michael Tabane to begin to share with us, the work that has been done so far with regards to the SADC Youth Forum declaration. Over to you, Dr. Michael Tabane.
Hello, Ronald, can you hear me?
Yes, we can definitely hear you. You may proceed.
Thank you very much. Because of technology, as Julie has noted, I've been facing challenges in connectivity, even if I'm part of the young people's bracket on connectivity. So thank you for taking me to connect through your account. But without taking much, I'm honored with the speeches that have been given and the work that has been done for the past 3 days, like what GIZ and ActionAid and Wits University said, the young people that were in committees, starting with the training, they've been so fantastic. Different committees, they came together and set the different sessions, session on peace and security, session on education, science and technology, session on gender justice and women's rights, session on disability, session on climate change, session on business entrepreneurship, session on health and COVID-19, session on governance, all those sessions were discussed, and in some few hours ago, we're deliberating in different sessions, the business, the education, and the health, among other sessions. And the youth parliament were debating on debt, and key resolutions came out. So what is going to happen, I would like to, as I'm briefed, I was part of the technical committee that was looking at the issues of consolidating, and professionalizing with young people, the issues that are coming, the key asks that they come with, and what is going to happen next, as Julie from Action said. The committee co-chairs for the 11 committees are going to meet after this forum and consolidate the final declaration, because what we need to run out from is we give a certain people to consolidate our position. We need to give back the committees to see what has come in the different Pan-African and heritage recommendations, that has come in peace and security, that has come in different discussions as a recommendations. So these are going to be recommended, consolidated in the next week. And I'm also briefed that there's going to be listening forums organized by these committees. I'm so honored that Excellence Aya Chebi is here. There's going to be a briefing for the committee to Her Excellence and the Office of the Youth Envoy of the outcomes and how the young people want to take further this outcome in SADC. There's going to be a listening forum for different development partners. In SIOF, there is what is called a youth development model. We don't treat anyone as a donor. We treat anyone as a development partner. So there's going to be a listening forum for the development partners to see what ways they can come in to support the different resolutions. There's going to be, I'm honored that today we are joined by SADC Secretariat, if they are not yet in the room, but we've been working closely with Dr. Tex, the Executive Secretary, and there's going to be an honorable joining us as the on this forum. There's going to be a listening session for SADC, which is our immediate body that we work with. There's going to be a listening forum with the ministers of youth in SADC, a listening forum with youth organizations and young people to see how best going forward. So let me conclude, Ronald, by saying the declaration will be shared with the media after the youth committees has come and delivered whatever that has been discussed today. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for those remarks, Dr. Michael Tabane, and colleagues, like what I have also shared with you earlier on, that we now have our African Union Youth Envoy, who's none other than Her Excellency, Madam Aya Chebi, within the meeting room. So she will be having another engagement soon after this guest presentation that she's going to make with us. So Her Excellency Aya Chebi, the floor is now yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can definitely hear you.
I was trying to rename myself. I don't go by Her Excellency. My name is Aya Chebi, so no need for titles. Thank you so much, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, congratulations to the Southern Africa Youth Forum for organizing this second SADC Youth Forum under the theme Catalyzing Youth Agency in Regional Processes is extremely important. I'm sure you had rich discussions the past 3 days. I heard some briefings from the African Youth Council of the AU and some members of the forum, and I've been following the discussion on Twitter, and I think it's been very engaging. You discussed employment, COVID-19, education, climate, governance, migration, and even Pan-Africanism and heritage. So this sounds like you've covered a lot of key issues for the SADC region and for SADC youth. So in my contribution today, I will try to link these issues of the SADC region to the continental level discussion, and then talk a little bit about how does it mean to be a catalyzer for change in the region, because I think it's important to talk about all these issues, but if we can get them to make the change we really are aspiring for, then we're missing the point. So we need to also know how do we take this forward moving from here. So first and foremost, our underlining agenda for whatever we're trying to pursue or achieve in the youth agenda is our mother agenda 2063. But you all know that young people in your countries, most of them don't know what Agenda 2063 is, don't know what 7 aspirations are, what is the 10-year plan of implementation, don't know the aspiration 6, which talks of an Africa driven by its citizens, especially youth and women, which means the AU moved from just being an institution of member states to an institution of people driven. And maybe you would say, okay, but the AU has not been able to reach the grassroots and to popularize the agenda. But who is the grassroots really? It's you, it's the young leaders of the region. You speak the language, you live in the community, you understand how to translate this agenda to something your peers can relate to. And so the African Union doesn't really have offices in every country, and it's not present in your member states. And it makes your role even more critical. And it makes our collaboration critical because the Office of the Youth Envoy is demanded by youth, and it's a vehicle of change for youth to bridge this information gap and to move from aspirations to implementation. So as a key outcome of this forum, I think you should ask yourself, how am I going to leave the SADC Youth Forum and build a strategy for my community to understand and own the Agenda 2063, because 2063 is for our generation, our children. The second most important instrument for us as young people is the African Youth Charter. I'm sure it came up many times during the conversations, but the Youth Charter guarantees all the rights that you are demanding for as SADC youth. It talks of health, Article 16, if you want to talk of peace and security, Article 17, if you want to talk about freedoms, Article 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 speak about freedoms. If you want to talk about girls and young women, Article 23, and so on and so forth. So the charter should be in your purse, should be on your desk. You should print a small one in your wallet. You should go to every meeting with it because it's your charter. 39 countries ratified the charter and 16 did not. So as a young leader of the SADC, you need to make sure your country ratified the charter. And if your country did, then you need to make sure it's being implemented. And the charter demands for national youth policy. So find out if it's in place. It demands for youth funds, find out if they're in place. The charter also has a 5-year concrete implementation plan, 2019-2023 framework, which is called the African Plan of Action for Youth Empowerment, APAYE. I'll move into the another important instrument, which is the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. So when young people reach out to me about human rights issues in their countries and in the SADC region, my first reaction is that, listen, in the whole world, there is no charter that recognizes people's rights. Our charter is not only about human rights, it's a human and people's rights. It protects you as an African citizen from human rights abuses and torture and so on and so forth. So use it. And the fourth and maybe last one I will mention here is the instrument, as an instrument for SADC youth, is the Continental Framework on Youth, Peace and Security, which is a recent milestone. It was adopted by the Peace and Security Council of the African Union on 23rd of June, this just a month and a half ago. And that's a result of regional consultations convened last year and produced a study on the role of youth in peace and security. And I can go on and on with these charters. We have the Charter on Governance, on Public Service. We have continental strategies on gender and digital transformation and education and endless. But all these instruments that we have at the AU, at the continental level, you need to take power from them and hold leaders accountable to them, because they were developed and adopted by African leaders themselves, including SADC member states. Now, in terms of initiatives and programs that SADC youth can engage in at the continental level, my office initiated and pioneered multiple initiatives. I'll just mention a few. the African Youth Charter Hustlers flagship initiative. It's basically trying to build this youth-led accountability to implement the charter. We launched last month the Sauti blog and publication, which is the first ever blog of the African Union, basically putting light and centering the discussion around young women. So 25 young women contributions were published. We also launched just a few weeks ago the Youth Silencing the Guns campaign to center youth in the theme of the year of the African Union. And we will be setting up Youth Silencing the Guns Awards, giving seed funding to 2 projects per region of young peace builders. We also established the African Youth Front on coronavirus, which SADC Youth is also part of, and that's another space for youth at the highest level of decision making to contribute to co-leading the solutions. And we will be organizing the African Union and European Union Youth Summit, and we will have open call that you can also engage in, and also SADC Youth Forum. Through the SADC Youth Forum, you can also engage because they are part of the Youth Front and eventually of organizing the Youth Summit. So everything is on the auyouth.envoy.org website for details on this project and how you want to engage in. And there are a lot of opportunities, but maybe I want to focus on one project we did that is relevant to the theme, catalyzing youth agency and regional processes, because that means for me, when you have agency, you have found your power. And just on International Youth Day, we released a report called Greater Inclusion of African Youth in Public Service and Governance. And I'm sure a member of the Advisory Council explained more about it in the governance session, but I absolutely encourage all of you to read the report and take the 8 recommendations offered to advocate and lobby your government to implement them. They are very practical recommendations. We're asking governments to lower the age of entry and to run for office, because it doesn't make any sense that leaders were in office 50 years ago and they were trusted to lead, and now they're putting age restriction to be president at you know, you need to be at least 40 or 50. Why can't we have a president at 32 like Thomas Sankara, you know? We're asking to appoint youth advisors and to presidents and young technocrats. Let's have youth envoys in every country, not only at the African Union. Let's have youth quotas. So it's not just about you know, having young people participate, but they need to secure that seat. You know, it's about competence, but we also need the space. We need to guarantee the space for youth and continue to democratize it. And so on and so forth. But please take a look at the report and use it as a tool for advocacy. We're not bringing anything new. All the reforms were tested in Nigeria and Rwanda and Tunisia and Namibia and Chad and many countries. And if we can analyze these case studies for how youth bring innovation and digitalization and solutions to the system, then we can make the case for all these reforms to be replicated everywhere on the continent. So pick one reform from the 8 that you feel strongly about and that your country needs, and gather your peers and start a campaign, because I truly believe you have so many superpowers that you may not realize. I think as African youth, we have something that the rest of the world doesn't have, which is our demographic power. We're the youngest population in the world. So imagine if you unite as SADC youth for one agenda, what are the possibilities for change to happen? We also have the voting power. We can vote literally anyone in and anyone out. We're more than 50% of our population. If you all unite in one vote and mobilize your peers, if you start a political party and all vote for it, you will be the majority in your country's parliament. So your power is in your hands. Find it and use it. And all these instruments that I just mentioned are just to consolidate that and to you know, move with speed. Now, during COVID-19 pandemic, you really made Africa proud. We've been featuring a lot of initiatives from the SADC region, and you should be proud of yourself and of your initiatives, of your resilience, of the tireless work of months of serving your community, even though you're facing emotional burden and you might have lost your job or education is disrupted, but you did it. And you need to keep going because COVID-19 pandemic, yes, it's the biggest challenge we've been facing, especially as millennials. We've never experienced other pandemic, but it's up to us as a generation to turn this challenge into and opportunities to our advantage. We are now basically in a forced transition, just like everyone had to transition online. It's not a choice. School is forced to e-learning, people have to still meet and so on. And this space, everyone has just came into it. But who dominates the digital space? The digital space by definition is youth space. We know how to organize the space, how to engage, how to communicate. We have our own language and hashtags and whatnot. So this is our space. Everyone here is a guest, and traditional bureaucratic institutions are guests, but they are very welcome to transition here, but we need to lead this space. We need to show the way and how it's done and how we should engage. So we don't end up, you know, from the same physical space of conferences and talking and speeches and bring it to the space. We need to make everyone adopt to our own space on our own terms. And we need to make sure we are transitioning Africa out of this crisis into a whole next level of innovation and technology and leadership. So really no excuses for why we can't make a difference during a pandemic like COVID-19. We should definitely stop, you know, watching or blaming the system and what's going wrong, and instead change it and put practical solutions in place. And that change definitely has to be bottom up and youth-led and innovative. I want to leave you with some learnings from my own leadership journey. And those of you who know me know that I started as an activist in the streets of Tunis protesting, and that I was arrested many times and blacklisted and all sorts of things that happens during a revolution. But I learned a lot from this journey. And the first thing I learned is that where you come from, your background and what you endured in your life cannot stop you from finding your power to disrupt and thrive. Whatever you've been hustling with, employment or education or opportunities, and if you are, you know, a young man, especially, remember whatever struggle you're going through, young women are enduring twice, because we're harassed on a daily basis in the street and online, and we're told we're never good enough to lead. And even my mom still thinks my ultimate achievement should be to get married and have kids. But I think now she gave up that idea. She thinks the train passed. She has no hope anymore. But the point is, everyone has a different struggle. What does it mean to be a catalyzer? It's about turning your struggle into a positive contribution, so others will not endure the same, you know, injustice or inequality. So don't go the corrupt way, don't go the violent way, don't perpetuate what you're fighting against. Be coherent with yourself. Coherence between what you believe in, what you say, what you do. That's what makes you really a true leader and a young change maker. And it's not easy, because we need to unlearn the pain as a generation and heal and learn how to make, you know, positive impact and bring our peers along as well, because there are young people who are struggling more than us. There is a great African saying that says, where you sit when you're old shows where you stood in your youth. Where you sit when you're old shows where you stood in your youth. So we must be prepared for this task, to lead, but to lead from a place of love and integrity, not to perpetuate the same system. The second learning is that you must remember that whatever you're fighting for, it's intersectional, meaning we can't have gender equality without education, or peace without climate justice. All the themes you discussed the past 3 days are interlinked and affect all of us in one way or another. But social justice can only be reached through solidarity. We ourselves can be part of the problem if we ignore or invalidate the issues of other groups, whatever they face every day. So it's not about looking at a list of issues and deciding which one are worth our time. It's about bringing people together in one movement. And I think that's what at least the SADC Youth Forum is trying to do. But also the 21st century kind of leadership and movements, it's not about, you know, one-man show or one organization show. It's about leaderless leadership. So everyone should be a political actor, a political voice in the movement. And that's how the movements will continue to sustain, because we will not stay young forever. And these youth movement has to continue. The third learning is that the present day is not limited to the solution of our grandfathers and grandmothers and our parents. Today is about innovation and creation and reforming the system. And maybe in the 60s, they had a Pan-African vision to build nation states. And today we have a new Pan-African vision as millennials that goes beyond national identity. It's about borderless Africa. It's about a single market. It's about an African passport. And I think the solidarity of the SADC region, the solidarity of Africa as a whole continent needs to be intergenerational. I have been advocating for, since my appointment as youth envoy, for a concept I call intergenerational co-leadership, which means that we have to recognize we have a generation gap. The average age of African leaders is 64, and the average age of the population is 20. So it's a tension and it's a dichotomy, but the solution is not, we're fighting you and you're fighting us. You want to exclude us and we want to get you out of the system. That's not how we can move forward. We haven't moved forward because maybe we're doing that. But the solution is to transition or to ensure a peaceful transition. And that can only happen through intergenerational dialogue by bringing all generations in conversation and in collaboration. So I think now it's for our generation to bridge this generation gap and turn it into a powerful space for social change and for transition. Or we will end up when we are older doing the same thing to the next generation. So we need to really consider this gap as an urgency to bridge it. The last thing I would like to share with you and the last learning from my end is don't give up. It's exhausting, it's draining, sometimes it's disappointing when you don't see results. It's mentally tiring, physically, financially, you're investing everything you have. But when you feel like you want to give up, empty your cup and refill it with commitment and continue, because we must continue. We're very privileged. In fact, if you're here in this Zoom call, you have internet. And that's a privilege. Only 30% of Africa has internet. So if you have access, you have responsibility. And you need to get involved. Get involved in civil society, in your local council, in your municipality, in your school. Hold your government accountable. If you don't like the government at all, run for office. But run to be democratic, not to perpetuate an exclusive system that benefit the few. And you need to mobilize and organize, put in the work, because it's all about hard work. It's working your ass off. You have to be ready and consistent to see result, because building movements and teams and communities doesn't happen overnight. It's a long-term investment. And we really don't need permission to serve our continent. It's our responsibility and our duty. So my final call to all of you, SADC youth, is to unite. Let's unite and rise above national, racial, ethnic, tribal, religious, and all the differences, and be first African. Let us unite for one Pan-African vision of an integrated, peaceful, borderless Africa. And thank you again for having me. The Office of Youth Envoy is your office. Reach out and engage and let us know how we can do better. And like SADC Youth says, the forum says, yes, our future starts today. So yes, this future starts today together. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ayachebi, for those remarks and inspirational words, coming from you there. And you also talked about a number of issues, how to be a catalyzer as a young African, and also the need for us to realize that, we are Africans before we talk about anything else. And we also appreciate, the work that the Office of the Youth Envoy is also doing in terms of, supporting the work that young people are doing. You also touched a lot around the issues of innovation and how some of these untold stories of African youth, you are also trying to ensure that they are brought to the spotlight. And around the issues of the African Youth Charter, we also appreciate the efforts that the OYE is also doing, especially on the initiatives around coming up with the African Youth Charter Hustlers, where these will also be young people who will be spearheading the implementation of the African Charter itself. So thank you very much for those remarks and for your participation during this particular closing ceremony of the second SADC Youth Forum. We really appreciate your presence. So moving on, colleagues, on the program, we had also noted that we were going to honor, our cohort 1 participants who had also made it through the online, course that we were also offering to young people within the SADC region, where we also partnered with an Austrian initiative, Austrian organization rather, the KAISID Dialogue Center. So we really want to appreciate the participation of young people who applied to be part of that particular training course, and they have also completed, and some of them were also issued with a number of certificates. So these were also coming under our youth SADC Youth for Peace initiative. So that particular course was also trying to look at interreligious dialogue, how interreligious dialogue may be used to strengthen, peace, reconciliation, and social cohesion. So we really appreciate the effort that these young people from within the SADC region also made in terms of participating during that particular training course. And we also congratulate them for, being issued with certificates from the KAISID International Dialogue Training Center. So we appreciate those particular efforts. So without wasting much time as well, I would also want then to briefly move over and to hand over to my co-facilitator, Munira. I'm not seeing her within the meeting room. Munira, can you just confirm if you are in the meeting? All right. So at this moment, colleagues, allow me to welcome, to make a brief presentation, the director of the SADC Council of NGOs, where SAI of SADC also represents young people, who is also none other than Director Glenn Farid. So Director Glenn, it's over to you now. Okay, we noted that you had unmuted yourself, but you are still muted. We can't hear you. Okay, Director Glenn, you may proceed. All right. Okay, yeah, now we see you. Yeah, you may proceed. Yes, we can now see you. You may proceed.
Colleagues.
Yes, you may proceed. We can't seem to be hearing you, but you may proceed. Okay, it seems as if, can you hear us, Director Glenn? Okay, so it seems as if Director Glenn is also facing a number of challenges in terms of hearing us there. So in the meantime, as Director Glenn is also trying to sort his audio there, I would maybe allow me to give a brief moment to one of our poets who is also within the meeting room, as Director Glenn is sorting out his audio, and as well as our Southern Africa Youth Forum Regional Executive Co-Chair, Ms. Maggie Mwape, will also be preparing her closing remarks. So at this moment, allow me to give a brief moment to one of our great poets, who is also a young person, Relebohile, to proceed. Thank you.
My beauty is tainted. It is like smashed makeup on a rainy day. My face is mercy. My soul is weary. My heart is torn asunder. It is bleeding. Tears are my daily feast. Daily, I weep for the child of my womb. SADC, oh, SADC. I'm Mama Southern. When you do not have access to education, it's a slap on my face. When you are ravaged with sickness and disease, it's a stab in my heart. When your human rights are violated, it's birthing in frozen waters. Seeing millions and millions of young people unemployed, yet pregnant with innovation, pregnant with knowledge, pregnant with talent, but denied. But denied. I'm Mama Southern. I'm bountiful with resources, land, water, gold, diamond, oil. SADC, you can suckle from my bosom to your heart's content. I am bounty. I, Mama Southern, demand corruption to be annihilated. Corruption, leave our courts. Corruption, you snake, I command you to leave our garden. It is a command. It is a command. Corruption, leave our garden. There is a sound rising. It's a new era. Yes, narratives are changing. It is the youth. They are clothed in righteousness and uprightness. On their tongue is the law of wisdom, innovation, knowledge, love. Their faces are of lions. They are unstoppable. They continue to make a sound. And chains break. Poverty break. Social injustice break. Economic disparity break. Sickness and disease break. The chains are falling. It's a new era. Hope is risen. It is done. Love shall bind SADC. Love shall bind SADC. SADC neighbors are perplexed. Journalists lose sleep, are struck in wonder. What is that sound in SADC? It reaches to the four corners of the earth. It is a sweet melody, soothing to a wounded heart. It is a sound of peace. SADC is marching over to a land of harmony and unity. The new slogan is, I love my neighbor as I love myself. Lesotho shall say, I love Tanzania as I love myself. South Africa shall say, I love Zimbabwe as I love myself. It is a new day. It is a new hour. It is a new revelation. It is a new decade. Arise and shine, SADC. Your time has come. Though darkness fills the earth, the glory of God is upon you. Open your eyes and see. Open, use a microscopic eye. There are paths in the wilderness. Rivers are flowing in the deserts. Freedom is your name. No longer are you a slave to fear, hopelessness, and despair. It's time to celebrate. And united, we shall stand and build a beautiful SADC for all. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, thank you very much, Relebohile, for that beautiful piece there. And colleagues, I'm sure you appreciate that within the SADC region we have vast lots of talents, and Relebohile is one of them. And thank you very much, Relebohile, for that piece. And like what you have also noted in that piece, that love shall bind the SADC region. So colleagues, I would also want to acknowledge the presence within the meeting room of Honorable Maxo Parakokwa, the representative of the SADC Secretariat. He is now within the meeting room, so we shall also give him an opportunity to share with us his keynote address before we receive the closing remarks from the Southern Africa Youth Forum Regional Executive Co-Chairperson, Ms. Maggie Ngwape. So at this moment, we'll jump over to give an opportunity for the SADC Council of NGO Director, Mr. Glenn Farred. Then after the director from SADC CNGO, then we'll give an opportunity for Honorable Maxwell Parakokwa to share with us his keynote address as well. So Director Glenn, can you hear us? Okay, so it seems as if we are also facing a lot of technical challenges connecting there with the SADC Council of NGO Director, Mr. Glenn Farred. So at this moment, colleagues, allow me to invite Honorable Maxwell Parakokwa, the representative of the SADC Secretariat, who have also come to grace this particular closing session of the second Southern Africa Youth Forum. So Honorable Maxwell Parakokwa, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much, Ronald. Can you see me?
Yes, definitely. We can see you and we can hear you.
All right, great. So I will proceed. Thank you very much. Ronald, the convener, allow me to start by recognizing you in particular. I will also recognize the SIOF regional co-chairs, Ms. Pendulile Zikao and Ms. Maggie Ngwape. I also recognize the co-chairs of the SADC Youth Parliament, the speakers of the SADC Youth Parliament, the SADC youth parliamentarians themselves. I also, in a special way, recognize the African Union Youth Envoy, Ms. Ayachebi, and also Mr. Convener, allow me to, in a special way again, recognize Madam Relebohile Levochane. Apologies if I misread that one, for the inspiring poem that she has delivered. Indeed, the chains are broken. I listened to this the second time today. I listened to it the first day, also today. I must tell you that the message is strong and the message must spread. Thank you very much, Madam Relebohile, for that inspiring poem. I also recognize the distinguished facilitators and moderators throughout this event, the distinguished participants, members of the media fraternity, and ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity to make these keynote remarks on this occasion of the SADC Youth Forum as convened by SAYOF. We felt really honored upon receiving your invitation to participate at this very important platform. I bring to you warm greetings from Her Excellency, Madam Stegomena Lawrence Tax, the Executive Secretary of SADC, who unfortunately could not join you simply because of her engagement in SADC Council and Summit business, which, as you know, is currently ongoing. She sends her commendation and high regard for your organization and its leadership. She congratulates you for successfully convening this year's edition of the forum and the work that you have been doing throughout the program year. We accepted to be here as a matter of obligation as the SADC Secretariat, recognizing our important role in collaborating with young people through their representative organizations as we work towards a common future for the region. And this is through regional integration and cooperation. We recognize that youth or young people in general, in their diverse formations and from their different walks of life, can and should be empowered to make a positive difference in the lives of all SADC citizens, not just the youth themselves. Through this forum, you have showed that you are most competent. You have addressed very difficult and pertinent issues that are affecting the region. This includes debt issues, corruption, low growth, and poverty. You have addressed issues related to unemployment, issues related to education and skills, health, migration. You have also addressed climate change, COVID-19 as well, among many other topics. The Youth Parliament was particularly impressive by affording yourselves as youth across the member states, all 16 of them, an opportunity to deliberate on key developmental issues with a sense of maturity and responsibility. I have no doubt that the recommendations that you have come up with deserve serious consideration by our leaders and can contribute to growth and development. I have also no doubt that you as young people will not just leave these recommendations to the leaderships in government and other stakeholders or other organizations, but that you will soon develop an action plan to champion implementation as your primary responsibility through the coming year. If you do this, we express our commitment to spare no effort in enhancing our partnership and finding more innovative ways to partner with you along this journey. Mr. Convener, the situation of youth continues to be very difficult for young people across the world, and SADC youth are not spared. While we shall not lament, and this is because the power remains in our hands, as we have discussed throughout these sessions, the power is in our hands. I repeat that. We must always be aware that the challenges remain huge and the call to action is extremely urgent. Youth continue to be marginalized in many ways. Their voice, for example, is conspicuously missing in formal governance and decision-making processes in many countries. It is not right that youth must resort to informal and often peripheral platforms for expression. This must stop, and youth must push until this situation is rectified. Their unemployment rate as youth is likely to be 2 to 3 times higher than that of adults, and their enterprise as youth is usually in the informal economy, where productivity and earnings are low because of constraints in accessing capital and credit, as well as weaknesses in affirmative action. Their access as youth to appropriate and useful sexual and reproductive health services, as well as psychosocial support, is severely limited. Mr. Convener, you know, the list goes on and on. And now with COVID-19, the situation of youth is even more precarious. Youth have been severely impacted by some of the needed responses to COVID-19, especially the lockdowns. The economic sectors that are worst hit by the prevailing economic downturn, such as tourism, hotel and catering, wholesale, and retail sectors, are those in which youth account for greater numbers, often in precarious forms of employment that lack adequate social security. Youth are also more disproportionately affected by disruptions to learning, as schools are closed in many countries, with access to virtual means of learning available only to a few. These factors disempower youth and increase their vulnerability to criminal behavior, unintended pregnancies, loss of skills and earning potential, and therefore long-term exclusion and long-term poverty. With the global community warning of the potential of a scarred COVID-19 or lockdown generation, there will be need for youth to remain on their feet and work closely with governments and other stakeholders to ensure that the interests of youth are prioritized in these response measures. On its part, the Secretariat is working closely with member states in putting in place measures to protect youth through the crisis. This is being done through stimulus packages, including wage subsidies that protect the viability of micro, small, and medium enterprises, which are the main source of employment for young people in the region. Member states have also upscaled measures for the continuity of education and learning programs through diversified options that include TV programs in partnership with public television stations, also podcasts, radio broadcasts, and learning packets in both digital and paper forms. It is also encouraging to note that the member states are simultaneously strengthening the sustainability of these measures beyond the crisis through targeted investments in educational infrastructure, including digital technologies. These measures are critical in ensuring that youth are empowered to lead the region out of the crisis into a future that is rightfully in their hands. In asking youth to remain vigilant during these trying times, I must also commend you for the role that you have so far played in the COVID-19 response in the different countries. also including in the context of the African Youth Front. In a special way, I also want to recognize the sterling efforts undertaken by the African Union Youth Envoy, IHAB, in mobilizing youth for action across Africa since the crisis began. Now, Mr. Convener, at this juncture, I want to inform the youth that the ongoing council and summit meetings are set to consider and approve two key blueprints for the region. These are the SADC Vision 2050 and the new Regional Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020 to 2030. Many of you have participated in consultations on the two documents. I don't need to preempt the discussions or the outcomes as they are ongoing in terms of the discussions, but I would like to assure the forum that the issue of youth has been amplified in the two proposed documents, the SADC Vision 2050 and the RESDIP Revised Indicative Strategic Development Plan 2020-2030. These instruments should see member states and the secretariats being able to upscale programming around your key interests. I'm also confident that there's great scope for SADC to immediately take up some of your recommendations as soon as the ongoing council and summit meetings come to a close. I also want to confirm that the Secretariat has kickstarted the development of a focused SADC youth program to operationalize the declaration that you know very well, the SADC Declaration on Youth Empowerment and Development of 2015, as directed by the Council of Ministers and also youth ministers in their recent meetings. We shall be facilitating stakeholder engagement in due course, and this means before the end of the year, to ensure that your interests find expression in the envisaged framework of the SADC Youth Program. Related to this, I must also mention our partnership with UNFPA through their Johannesburg office in the form of a scoping exercise that is ongoing to determine and enhance the capacities of youth organizations in the region to drive implementation of the envisaged SADC Youth Program, which I've made reference to. In all these planned interventions, we count on your active participation at both regional and national levels. As I end my remarks, I once again must congratulate on behalf of the Executive Secretary of SADC, Her Excellency, Madam Stegomena Lawrence Tax, must congratulate SAYOF for the excellent organization of this forum, which is about to end, which you have convened under very difficult COVID-19 circumstances. On her behalf, I must urge you to keep the shoulder to the wheel so that when you meet for the third forum next year, youth in our region will be at a whole different level. I also want to thank all the partners that you have worked with who have made this event a great success. And I would like to encourage them to continue to walk the way with you and to support your leadership as we go into the future. I must thank also the resource persons who have provided excellent guidance throughout the program. We thank them for their commitment and for their participation in this program, which has made it a success. Please stay safe. I thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. Mucho obrigado. Asante sana. Kialiboha.
Thank you very much for those remarks, Honorable Maxwell Parakokwa, representing also the SADC Secretariat, and we really appreciate, your presence and also the remarks that you have also shared with us. sharing also some of the key challenges that young people, are facing. And you have rightfully talked about some of these in your remarks. But most importantly, you have also encouraged us as young people that as young people, we need to really, remain on our feet. And also, the need for solidarity amongst us as young people to continue to be at the center also of the development processes within the SADC region itself. So we really appreciate your presence and also the continued support that you continue to give us as young people steering the development process within the SADC region. So we really appreciate your presence. So colleagues, you have also noted that we failed to connect to the SADC Council of NGO Director, Glenn Farrett, but however, Director Glenn has also shared a message with us to say that the connection is unstable, but please extend our congratulations to you and all the participants and partners from the SADC CNGO and the family of civil society in SADC. We have passed the baton and you will walk far together, making the continent proud. So those have been the remarks by the SADC Council of NGO Director Glenn Fared to us, during this particular closing ceremony of the second SADC Youth Forum. So at this moment, allow me to hand over to the Southern Africa Youth Forum Regional Executive Co-Chairperson, Madam Maggie Mwape, to share with us the closing remarks. So over to you, Madam Mwape. Madam Mwape, can you hear us?
Hello, Ronald. Madam Mwape is issuing through, is communicated through a video. She's traveling. She's part of this, but she's traveling.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so over to you, tech support team. Tandy, you may take this over. Thank you.
Shresha will be playing the video shortly. Shresha, are you good?
Good.
All right, cool.
Representative of SADC Secretariat, Honorable Maxwell Parakopa, AU Youth Envoy, Her Excellency Aya Chebi, representative of the member states of SADC, SADC's Executive Director, Dr. Glenn Farrett, National Youth Council's representatives, the SADC Regional Executive and Regional Secretariat, SADC Country Directors, our partners, Second SADC Youth Forum committee members, representatives from all regional organizations, youth organizations, young people from Africa and other regions, members of the business, the church, the trade unions, the civil society organizations, and honorable participants of the Second SADC Youth Forum or protocols observed. Today, we are meeting on the final day of the SADC Youth Forum, which started on 12 August 2020, a very special day in the world, the International Youth Day. But on a sad note, on Tuesday, 11th August, we lost one of our young leaders from the Kingdom of Lesotho, Ms. Mamohau Tatsane. She was SADC Country Director for Lesotho. At the time of her sudden death, she was mentoring young SADC youth parliamentarians in Lesotho. She passed away on her birthday. May her soul rest in peace, and condolences to the family, friends, and the Kingdom of Lesotho. Ladies and gentlemen, the Southern Africa Youth Forum is the primary convener of the Southern Youth Forum, which started with the Southern Youth Parliament on the 12th of August 2020. SAYO is an official coordinating body for youth and youth organizations, youth representative in the SADC NGO, the Africa Focus on the United Nations Major Group for Children and Youth, and appointed by to be part of the Africa Youth Front on COVID-19, a high-level policy and advocacy framework for young people to co-lead Africa's response to COVID-19. The second came from the coronavirus pandemic, hence this year's second SADC Youth Forum, which was scheduled for Mozambique, have been held virtually. As noted by the theme for our 2024 regional processes, our future starts today, the young people from 16 SADC young people drivers and conveners of change. The discussions were enriching, the rich panels, the vibrant and parliamentarians on the theme, born in 2 dates, young people's future under threat. Not forgetting our young artists and the SADC Youth Forum committees that started work before this success. Indeed, young people are amazing. The region is in great hands, and this I can assure. This year's forum had key issues under discussion that ranges from peace and security, climate change and environment, governance, political inclusion, youth policy and leadership, national women's rights, Pan-Africanism, health and COVID-19, and education, science, and technology. All these discussions will shape our way forward in advocacy points and engagements with the regional bodies, stakeholders, members, youth organizations, young people, and partners. After the forum, recommendations bear fruits. We invite young people to take a leading role in various countries to make sure your voice is heard. We also invite inclusion of youth in all aspects of political economy. This forum has also a separate statement on events happening in Zimbabwe, and it shall be issued separately in line with SADC protocols and instruments that seek to foster peace, unity, respect of dignity of people, among others. Lastly, let me thank all for being with us in the 3-day Towards Real Youth Participation. I thank the media for extensively covering our forum. A remarkable thank you to our development partners for the 2020 SADC Youth Forum. International, WITS Business School, Center on African Philanthropy and Social Investment, GIZ, African German Youth Initiative, African Union Youth Division, Office of the Youth Envoy, Southern Africa and NGO, which the SADC Youth Forum falls under. Young people in the region, let's continue to have our eyes on the developmental goal. Let's complement our governments in national and regional development by taking a leading role, since our future starts today. I thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for, for that video there, but we also noted some comments within the chat box where participants were also noting, that there was a bit of a very low, audio quality there, and I believe some of the participants were not really able to, to access the correct words that the co-chair was also, sharing with us there. But all the same, it remains for us from the Southern Africa Youth Forum to thank you for, taking time to be part of this particular discussion from the International Youth Day on the 12th of August up until today. You are still with us and you were also engaging with us. So from that particular high note, would also, want to extend our gratitude to the SADC Secretariat, the Office of the Youth Envoy, specifically the African Union Youth Envoy herself, Ms. Achebi, to our partners, the SADC youth parliamentarians, the committees too, that were also planning and coordinating all this process from the beginning and now towards the end of the second SADC Youth Forum. That was also, happening under the theme, catalyzing youth agency. Our future starts today. So from this end, it leaves us to say a very big thank you to everyone. And now it is the end of the second SADC Youth Forum, but the work starts now. I think part of the panelists have also said these remarks that I'm sharing with you now. So colleagues, we will continue to engage, within these very critical conversations, because the time for us to stand up as young people and be, the owners of our destiny is now. So thank you very much, everyone, for being part of this conversation during the 3-day second SADC Youth Forum. Till we meet again, it's a goodbye for now. Thank you.